It's a value only, but the other players quite seem to enjoy any Helmuth taunting, so, and I enjoy it too. So,
best of luck.
Thank you.
And there is Phil Hellmuth, who is even in his match with Men Win.
The unintimidatable Phil Hellmuth.
7-6 off suit. And Phil calls. Men Win looking at a pair of fives.
Men might put in a little raise here.
Instead, he just checks. Flop is 4-9-8, and Phil Hellmuth has an open-ended straight draw. Men checks.
Phil's thinking about making a little bet here. Wouldn't be a bad play.
Instead, he just checks. Turn comes out a big turn card, 5 of clubs.
That's the card they were both rooting for. That makes Men 3 5s, but it makes Phil the highest possible hand, a straight to the 9.
So Men checked. Phil bet 800, and now back to Men, who calls.
Surprisingly, Men just calls. 3 5s is a mighty powerful hand here.
River's a 2 of spades.
That doesn't change anything. Phil still got the best hand, straight to the 9.
Men checks with his 3 5s, and Gabe, that's the kind of hand where you can lose a lot of money.
Well, he may be thinking about raising Phil. We know Phil's going to bet. Let's see if Men raises.
Phil bets 2,500.
There are very few hands that can beat Men's 3 5s. Men is thinking about whether or not to raise.
He chooses to call.
Men must have had some tell on Phil, some insight in that hand, because most players, I can tell you, Matt, most players would have gone broke with Men's hand.
Men, the master, lives up to his nickname by avoiding a big loss.
I'm standing on Fremont Street in downtown Las Vegas. In May, this city celebrates its 100th birthday. The casinos on this historic street have seen so many poker tournaments, you could almost call it the unofficial poker capital of the world. Back in 1946, the Golden Nugget first opened its poker room and entered the world of tournament poker by hosting the Grand Prix of Poker during the 1980s. In 1994, Fremont Street was closed to traffic, and 3 years later, they held the final day of the World Series main event outside as Stu Unger beat a field of 300 players. Even more history will be made in downtown Vegas this year as the first ever national heads-up poker champion is crowned right here at the Golden Nugget.
Thanks, Lindsay. A lot of rich poker history here in downtown Las Vegas, and certainly here at the Golden Nugget. Back to our featured table now, where Daniel Negreanu is back out to a big chip lead over Jerry Buss. Daniel with Queen 5 off suit. He calls. Suited 6-5 for Dr. Buss. He checks. Flop is Queen 5 Queen, and Daniel has flopped a full house.
Yes, and unfortunately for Jerry, he's flopped 2 pair. And he's going to bet here, which is the right play. 2 pairs, a powerful hand, and heads up. Interesting thing is, how is Daniel going to play it? He's got the absolute nuts. He's trying to extract as much money as possible.
So Daniel correctly slow playing the full house. He calls. The turn's a king of hearts.
Jerry doesn't like that king. Daniel very casually throws out 3,000. Come into my trap here, Dr. Buss.
Dr. Buss isn't buying it.
Oh, you had the 5?
I had the 5 too. I had the whole full house.
I had an ace 5.
Well, he wasn't lying about the 5, Matt.
We take you now to one of our outer tables where Evelyn Ng, one of our colleagues on NBC's coverage of the Poker Superstars, is in a first-round match. Evelyn handled the exit interviews with poker luminaries like TJ Cloutier and Doyle Brunson after they were eliminated from the 8-team field. The last interview she conducted was with the eventual winner of Poker Superstars, Gus Hansen. And Evelyn's in great shape here with a set of 4s.
Looks like she's going to eliminate Bobby Ball. When he got real unlucky here, he flopped jacks with an ace kicker, and that's it. He's out.
And Bobby's a world champion who happens to be the CEO of MGM Mirage. So Evelyn Ng takes down a formidable foe here as she advances into the round of 32. Back to another outer table now where Phil Hellmuth has a 3-1 chip advantage over Men Win.
Phil has been forcing the action in this match so far, and it's kept him in a dominant chip position.
We take a look at the Amberbach pocket cam with men's ace-9. He bets 5,000.
Yeah, he's showing a little aggressiveness, which is good.
Phil has an ace as well. He'd move his thumb. Ace-queen. And Hellmuth quickly moves all in.
And Men quickly calls. Men got unlucky, picked up a decent hand for heads-up ace-9, but Phil woke up with an ace-queen. And you can see the percentages. Phil's a big favorite to win the match right here. Men's going to need a 9.
Flop pair 6s and a 3.
Not a terrible flop for Men. He can tie with a 3.
The percentages you can see do not add up to 100 here because they take into account the chance for a split. The turn brings a 2 of spades.
Now he can also tie with a deuce, so he needs a 3 or a deuce to tie 9 to win. 3 deuce, baby. That's what Men says.
4 of hearts comes on the river, no help for Men, and Phil Hellmuth has knocked out Men the master to advance into the field of 32.
And despite a little animosity during the match, they shake hands like gentlemen.
Good hand, Phil.
Good game, man.
Yeah, but don't climb that hand down, man.
All right.
Well, maybe I spoke a little too soon here, Matt.
Men's still a little chapped.
You don't mean that you did it, man.
Sorry for that.
Sorry. Why sorry, Phil?
Maybe Lindsay can get to the bottom of the animosity.
Congratulations, Phil. You know, Men seemed a little bit upset there at the end. What happened?
Well, not much happened. I mean, I was mumbling under my breath. One time I raced with 2 3s, and I just mumbled under my breath about maybe how I should have called. That's all. I didn't mean anything. I didn't say he played bad or anything like that. I was just mumbling.
You are definitely one of the more confident players out there. Can you win this tournament?
Can I win the tournament? Of course. I mean,
Will you win the tournament?
Will I win the... No comment. I mean, you know, I'm... the odds makers have me at long odds, you know, and I'm a little bit pissed off about that. I mean, they forget I won 9 world championships.
How do you really feel, Phil?
I'm pissed, man. I won nine Hold'em tournaments at the World Series, more than anybody else. And they have me at, like, which means I won a lot of heads-up matches there. And they have me at like 40 to 1 to win this thing. So I'm just a little steaming. There's no respect.
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Phil Hellmuth.
No respect. He gets no respect at all.
Sorry. Why sorry, Phil?
Welcome back to the Golden Nugget Hotel and Casino. Play wrapping up all across the Hearts bracket. Lyle Berman, the CEO of the World Poker Tour, has gotten past Freddie Deeb. Jennifer Harmon, one of 6 ladies in the tournament, defeated David Gray. Huck Seed, a former Caltech electrical engineering student, knocked out David Pham. And in a battle of 2 of the tournament's bolder players, Carlos Mortensen eliminated David Williams. And there's James Woods watching. We'll see his match against Johnny Chan a bit later, but for now, let's go back to the featured table where Daniel Negreanu has a big lead over Jerry Buss. Dr. Buss looking down at a pair of 6s. He calls. Ace-8 offsuit for Negreanu, who checks.
Jerry chose not to raise with his 6s. He wants to see a flop first.
And the flop brings a set of 6s for Jerry.
Huge hand. Jerry checks. He doesn't want to scare Daniel.
Turns an 8 of spades.
That's the ideal card for Jerry. Daniel's made a pair, and Daniel leads out bets with it. Jerry's plans worked.
And Jerry moves all in.
How much is it?
Daniel's kind of wondering.